Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and in this video, I am excited to share with you some amazing information about a very well-known anti-parasitic herb called wormwood. Now, this is a plant that originates in Europe, North Africa, and parts of Asia, but now it is naturalized in North America, South America, and even parts of Australia. And it can be looked at as a bit of an invasive plant because once it gets established, it's pretty drought resistant. It loves sunshine. It loves and thrives in average to poor soil. And it's just one of those plants that grows tall and it can really take over an area. So this is a plant that I have personally loved and used for most of my adult life because it is in our Clarkia anti-parasitic blend. And it's also in another blend for Giardia called Vermicide. So I haven't used that a ton, but I have used our Clarkia twice a year consistently since my early 30s. And I am now in my mid 60s. So this is something that has made a huge difference in what I believe has been health and prevention with all of the amazing benefits that it has besides its anti-parasitic properties, but all the other things that it does. I believe this has been a really key part of me being well and staying healthy along with all the other things that I do. But wormwood is definitely something to put on your radar, learn a little bit more about it and all of the beautiful health benefits. So like I said, the thing that I've mostly used it for is its anti-parasitic properties. And this is what it's really, really well known for. In fact, for thousands of years, it's been used as a main anti-malarial herb because of just how powerful it is against malaria. So there's other now anti-malarial pharmaceuticals that have been formulated, but many, many people and many, many indigenous tribes still absolutely turn to this powerful plant. Now, wormwood is a bitter, and it's a very, very well-known bitter. In fact, if you were to take a list of a bunch of bitters, like valerian is one of them, the super bitter, I would personally put wormwood at the very top of the list as far as how powerful it is and how crazy it tastes, because you can taste the medicinal properties in wormwood, especially if you were to take it as a tea or if you were to take ground up dried wormwood leaves and just eat it, which people have done this in the past, especially if there's maybe a situation where they need to do this and they've got an experienced herbalist or shaman. This is something you definitely don't want to play around with, especially if you're pregnant or nursing. We don't suggest that at all. In fact, please know that this is not meant to be medical advice. All the information I share with you is meant to entertain and educate you. So as always, do your own due diligence, especially when it comes to learning about and utilizing and putting into your home herbal apothecary herbs that are powerful, which most of them are, but especially ones like wormwood. So I'm going to go through this really great list of things that I love about the plant wormwood, besides its anti-parasitic properties. So because it is a bitter, it is really well known for how it aids in digestion. It helps to increase the amount of bile. So it's really, really good for your liver. It's good for your gallbladder. And if you think about those two organs functioning the way that they should, then this is going to automatically improve your digestion. So this is one of my favorite things about wormwood. Now, it's also really good as an antimicrobial, especially antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial. And this is one of the things that a lot of people aren't aware of if you're just used to using wormwood in maybe an anti-parasite blend. So the blend we make has not just wormwood, it has green black walnut hulls, and it has cloves and quasi because it's broad spectrum. The cloves go after the eggs. The wormwood, the black walnut hulls, the quasi go after the adult onset, especially liver flukes. Really, really amazing blend. Once you start really looking into what these herbs do and how they support human health, it actually makes a lot of sense. In fact, wormwood out in the wild, or even if you grow it in your yard, if you say you live near a forest or you have a house that's kind of on the edge where you maybe have deer, wormwood is a plant that any animal will leave alone because it's so bitter. And this is part of its protective properties, which translates into some of the protective properties for humans as well. Now, one of the things that I really love is that wormwood is being really heavily studied these last couple of decades for its anti-cancer properties, because it's got powerful anti-inflammatory properties, antioxidant. It's full of minerals and vitamins, and it's just one of those plants that, like I said, is super bitter, but it's super powerful. Now, the part of the plant that you use mainly are the leaves. And you can also use the flowering tops. You can use the stems that are attached to the leaves that are attached to the main stalk. But for the most part, this is a plant where the leaves are mainly used. Now, the way that I personally love to use wormwood is in tincture form. And for many years, I've made my own tincture of wormwood, and I have it in my herbal apothecary as a single. Now, this is not something that we carry as a single, but this is something really fun for you to look into, possibly grow this in your yard and learn about all of the properties that this contains and how you would utilize it. So tincture is my favorite. You can also put it in capsule form, so you can dry the leaves and powder it. This is also very common if you were to look for different supplements that carry wormwood, or just even a single wormwood by itself. You can find it in capsule form as well. Those are my two favorite ways. And then, of course, it's consumed as a tea, which is hard for most people because it is so bitter. And a lot of times when you would make up wormwood tea, especially if someone was having a kind of an intense antimicrobial issue, a viral issue, a bacterial issue, a parasite issue, sometimes the fastest way, if you don't have access to a tincture, is to brew up a cup of tea and maybe sweeten it with a little or a lot of honey, which is really common, and then to drink the tea. And it is fast acting, super bitter, super crazy, but really amazing to go after what it goes after. So this would be something that if you live in a place where you have room to grow something like wormwood, I would put it in the top 10 of herbs to have growing in your medicinal herb garden. Now, what I did is I found some really beautiful mystical folklore that is really fun to share, because not only do we have modern science that is looking at this and doing a lot of studies, which is super amazing, and it's about time, but we have all the beautiful recorded history of what humans have been using this plant for many years. And there's a lot of really magical, mystical things that I'm going to wrap this up with because it's super fun. So here's one of the first things I found. When you place wormwood beneath a pillow, it does not cause dreams. It causes true dreams, is what it says. Clear, sharp, and sometimes uncomfortable. And I think that this little bit of folklore came in there simply because when you have something that's so bitter and a little hard to take, because it tastes the taste is so medicinal, sometimes you need clear, sharp dreams that are uncomfortable. So this is one of the folklore myths around this beautiful plant. Now, dreams brought on by the wormwood were said to reveal hidden motives, predict endings rather than beginnings, and teach through symbolism, not pleasure. So sometimes we know that we have to take something that doesn't taste good because we know that it's good for us, right? Which we're so used to sweetening and adding all these layers of flavors over everything that sometimes the best way to do is just take something, let the medicine do its work, and appreciate what Mother Nature gives us, right? In Western esotericism, wormwood symbolized discipline, limits, and endings. And also it symbolized the dark moon, not the full moon, but the dark moon, which is interesting. So it means basically breaking down illusion before rebirth, which I think is really beautiful because there are layers of energy and wisdom that these plants come with on how they affect us on a biological level that also affects us on a spiritual, energetic level as well. Okay. So this is why it appears in text describing this: loss before wisdom. I really love this. And descent before ascent. So think about when you maybe go through the dark night of the soul, or you go through these really hard things as human beings. You maybe feel the loss of something and you really go through the work of feeling things so that you can come out of them and release them and really come into a place of health. Because health is not just biological or physical. Health is very much tied to our emotional, spiritual being. And this is what plants help us remember, which is honestly my favorite thing about studying plant wisdom, applying it into my life, and using it for decades for all of these beautiful things. So, and then here's another thing. Bitter plants train the spirit. You know, I found that in one of the texts. So bitter plants train the spirits. Wormwood should be an herb given for these three things. Someone who's avoided difficult truths. Now, this is all in the folklore that I found. So you don't want to just do this if someone is having a hard time looking at hard truths. These are things just to entertain you and educate you, okay? So wormwood was given back 1,000 years ago for someone who avoided difficult truths, a vision seeker who needed grounding, not ecstasy. Okay, so if you're a vision seeker and you needed grounding rather than just seeking a vision and just going astral or going, up into the clouds, maybe you need grounding if you're a vision seeker. So if that would describe someone who needed that, they would be given wormwood. And then this, ego that needs dissolving rather than expanding. So if you had a person, and we all need to sometimes dissolve our ego as we grow spiritually, as we grow emotionally, sometimes that pesky ego gets in our way. And this is one of the things that was believed about wormwood. Really awesome. Now there's some protection and spiritual warding that comes along in the beautiful folklore and mysticism of wormwood. So wormwood would be hung above doors to repel wandering spirits. It would be sewn into small sachets to guard against nightmares, psychic intrusion, and evil or ill intent. It was believed to make it unpalatable to spirits, just as it is to insects. So that is, if you think about it, it's not just insects who are repelled by wormwood, like in a physical, absolute sense, but the evil spirits as well. And I believe there is something absolute to all of this. Now, in magical folklore, wormwood is not a love herb, a comfort charm, or a feel-good healer. So we need all those feel-good healers, but we also need these things that ground us, heal us, help our digestion, help with all of the things that come at us, maybe the hardcore things, like I said, the parasites, the viruses, the funguses, the bacteria, helping our body digest, helping keep our body clear of different abnormal cancerous things. This is all the things that we need. And it's not all light and fluffy. It's not a love potion herb. It's more of a hardcore, bring us down to earth, help us heal, help us ground. And then we can experience life differently and in a more grounded manner, right? Especially if we have good health and we keep the microbes in balance. And then here's what it is. It's a guardian of clarity, a keeper of thresholds, and a teacher that asks if we are ready to know. And then I found this beautiful little quote. It said, drink honey for the heart, drink wormwood for the soul, but only when you mean it. So I thought this was really, really fascinating to add those different layers of not just all the health benefits of wormwood, but all of these beautiful folklore, mystical things that ground us as humans and things that help us realize that we are connected to Mother Earth. We're connected to plants, and these plants are wise. And if we let them, they will talk to us and they will tell us just exactly what we need. So I would love to know what you think about wormwood. Is it a plant that you're familiar with? Do you grow it? Do you love it? Have you never heard of it? Are you afraid of it? There's a lot of things about some of these plants that can intimidate us if we've never utilized them and added them into our routine and experienced their health benefits for ourselves. So as usual, just know that just grabbing a supplement off of a shelf or growing a bunch of wormwood and just start consuming it is not the smartest thing to do. As always, again, use your due diligence, use your common sense, tune in, research deeply, and you will be surprised at all the amazing things that you can add in to a beautiful home apothecary and start having confidence using them for yourself, your family, as we move forward in these amazing, amazing times that we're in. So thanks for tuning in today, guys, and we will see you in the next one.